Hey there. In this video, we're going to be talking about point number 3, marketing gap number 3 that a lot of businesses make, which is customer targeting. Listen on. So in this video, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of business owners make, which is a lack of customer targeting or inappropriate or improper or imprecise customer targeting. It's one of the biggest mistakes I see when it comes to running ads, when it comes to all forms of marketing. Here's the thing. I have talked to a number of different business owners, whether they are chiropractors or restaurant owners or you name it. And I will say, so who is your target audience? And they will be like, oh, I can serve everybody between the ages of 5 days and 95 years old. And anybody who has a spine, I can help everybody. I can do for everybody. And here's the thing about marketing. When you try to target and talk to everybody, you end up talking to exactly nobody. That is true. When you are trying to talk to and target everybody, you are going to end up talking to absolutely nobody because your target client, your target audience is not going to see themselves in your marketing. So what do you do instead? Well, building out buyer personas is super important. Understanding psychographics, what drives people to buy from your business, what motivates them, what stage of life are they in? And, are there any commonalities going on with their lives that you can pick up on that are going to help with targeting, messaging, and all of those things? Not doing the research and not having a good understanding of who exactly your target audience is frequently going to cost you a ton of money. Another thing is, understanding who the key players are. If you are selling business to business, who are the key players in the decision-making process when it comes to your product? Now, I get that most people who are in leadership positions in most businesses, whether you're in management or leadership or whatever, tend towards a high D in a DISC profile. Totally cool. But it is also worth mentioning that in technical fields, it is not unusual to see a lot of S's and C's in technical leadership positions because they are the people who have the technical skills, the know-how, the precision, the detail-orientedness to make particular decisions. So if you are selling a product into, say, a technical field, you may be dealing with an S or a C. Or for instance, like you are selling to a law firm, you're not just selling to the attorney, you're actually selling to the admin that runs the practice. And chances are the admin that runs the practice is not a high D. That person is probably anything but a high D. They might be an I if they deal with customers on the back end, or they're your S's and C's that are dealing with the books, the number crunching, and all the things. And the reason that they're looking at operations stuff or QuickBooks or whatever is because they're an S or a C. So your marketing actually needs to target both those high D lawyers so that they know that you understand them, but you really need to grab those S's and C's and pull them in. So your targeting and your marketing needs to target all of the decision makers that are involved in a particular decision-making process. So understand that when you are dealing with marketing, you need to understand the buyer personas. Is it a single individual with a single set of parameters, or are you dealing with a group think? I have dealt with somewhat larger businesses from time to time, although I tend to mostly deal with small businesses that have a sole decision maker. But when I'm dealing with businesses that have multiple decision makers, it is rare that I am dealing only with high Ds. But when I'm dealing with a sole decision maker, it's almost always somebody that is a high D. So just be aware that you need to understand psychographics, demographics, and even understand their educational backgrounds, the language they use, the language that they do not use. When I am talking to somebody in a more technical environment, I tend to use much more technical jargon. When I am talking to somebody in a less technical environment, I tend to use less technical jargon, and I use different wording and phrasing because I know that alphabet soup coming out of my mouth to the wrong audience is not going to play well. But if I don't use alphabet soup to certain audiences, it's also not going to play well. So understand your audience super well. The other thing too is neglecting the importance of niche marketing. A lot of times we are trying to market to everybody and we end up marketing to nobody. So I'm looking at you chiropractors. I'm looking at, you Mary Kay lady. A lot of times you're not really selling to everybody. You're not selling to teenagers. Both of these businesses actually end up selling to a lot of women over the age of 40 who are dealing with a range of issues in their bodies that have been long neglected. So focus on the niche and understand that other buyers are going to come. But if you don't focus on the niche and the buyer personas that are the most likely to buy from you, you're not going to have any clients whatsoever. So understand who your target audience is and what they want and be super clear about it. Now, this is something that we end up doing a lot of research on, making sure that your target audience actually has the money to spend on what you want, making sure that there is a match between your product and service and the audience that you're trying to sell for. And I'll give you a perfect example from my own background that is the perfect example of a shitstorm of a failure. When I first launched my online business, I had owned a couple of businesses by that point, and I was determined to help small business owners. So I put together a course on how to start and run a small business. Only it wasn't targeted enough, and I didn't have the right audience to launch it to. So I made a number of huge mistakes. One was not having the right audience. One was not having the right demographics. But the other thing was that my product wasn't targeted correctly to the online audience, and it wasn't offering a simple 3-step process. So what I learned the hard way, the very, very, very expensive hard way, is that, ignore these things at your peril. It may cost you almost everything you have. You need to focus on the customer and focus on understanding their needs, their wants, their desires, and really reach out to them. But I will also say, if you are focusing on customers, make sure that it's a customer demographic that actually has money and they have a desire and a willingness to actually spend money. One of the mistakes I see too is, a lot of restaurants get put in around me that are high-end restaurants. I live in a wonderful neighborhood that is gorgeous by all standards. And you would think that from the demographics here that we eat out a ton, and sure we do, at Chick-fil-A and McDonald's. And we shop a lot at Marshall's and Ross. And we do a lot of bargain shopping. So the high-end restaurants that have been placed around our neighborhood have tended to fail, and they tend to fail pretty quickly, usually within 6 months to a year, because people are not spending their money that way. They are frequently one-income families with, one parent earning the vast majority of the income, and the families don't tend to eat out as much, or they're not eating out at high-end restaurants all the time because they've got kids and teenagers and everything else, and that's just not their spending habit. So understand, at a deep level what people's needs, wants, and desires are, rather than making assumption about, oh, well, these people have this income, they're obviously going to have these tastes. Well, maybe not. So let's talk. Book a call with me. It is a free consultation call. The link will be in the description for the video. I would love to chat with you and learn more about your business and see if I can be a fit to help you get more clients, add more revenue to your bottom line, and close those darn marketing gaps that are the bane of most businesses' existences.